Hi guys, this is Sidney. So how have you guys all been doing since I shared my last video? I hope you guys have been well. So right now I'm in Bali, Indonesia. So I came here about 3 days ago, and I was guided to be here in this particular region at this particular place, part of the town, particular like ocean. So I didn't know what to expect, but I had this experience before when I was starting my journey from Egypt in 2022, moving on to different continents, and for about 2 years. So this time I'm guided to be here, to be in Indonesia in July. So let's see how the energy goes and what the messages are coming and the kind of grid work that I'm to do here. So I've already connected with a lot of local people here, Balinese people, and they share with me a lot of stories, interesting stories. And with that, I gained a lot of insight into what is taking place energetically here and with what's going on. So at large, what I saw and what I received was like this energy of like two worlds like coexisting. One, like we would say old and the new. So the new is more peaceful, harmonious, full of kindness, oneness, love. The other one is full of fear, insecurity, thus troubles. Basically a lot of chaotic energy, and they're simultaneously coexisting right now. And that is like, in a way, an analogy of what is taking place collectively, that we have a lot of wars going on, a lot of conflicts at the same time. Some souls or people are experiencing very different realities. So as a light worker, and you know, if you're watching this, connecting, resonating, you may be a starseed light worker, earth angels, and you don't have to resonate with these terms. So if you just connect and resonate, right, what we are being called to do, that I'm guided to share continuously as a reminder, is to keep your love and light with yourself. And there may be a lot of things, chaotic things going on that you may be aware at the same time, that you also may experience very different reality, is because we are in very much a transitional period right now, both on an individual level, at the same time on a collective level. So we are clearing on an individual level and a collective level simultaneously at the same time, as we have been doing so. And so take however resonates for you with these messages, and discern for yourself as always. Okay, so when I arrived like 2 days ago, I went out to the ocean, and I was heavily connecting with the energy of the ocean, the earth, the sun, the water, the air here. And Indonesia is well known, especially Bali is well known with surfers, right, because of big waves. And when I just saw the waves coming in, I just felt like so much energy there, so much free, so-called free energy, like 369, and you know, that energy of electricity and magnetism, yin and the yang, divine feminine and the masculine. And I enjoyed watching all the surfers and I would just like cheering them on, like go, 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 you know, when they're like riding the waves and stuff, like before they crash with the wave. And you know, it's like in a way a symbology, or like a symbolic message, that one can be very afraid of the waves coming bigger than themselves and feel overwhelmed, but the other one could be seeing that as an opportunity to ride the wave. You see what I mean? So one could be like, oh my gosh, the waves are coming, that person cannot ride the wave. But when you just see that as the wave, and you do not have any preconceived notions of whether it's something fearful, whether it's something overwhelming, then you just simply learn how to ride it, because that is part of the nature. So just like that, we just had the new moon in Cancer, and Cancer energy is very much watery energy. And the Cancer represents, the nurturing aspect, the protective nature, the home, the idea of home and family and all of that, right? All those qualities. So we are being called to really feel our emotions. So once again, we are having to delve deeper into our emotional world. And that emotional world, if you are going through a lot of triggers or you're like healing a lot of emotions, and this could play out in a very unique way for everyone, but we are all going through this in one way or another. I do that, you do that, everyone on earth right now is like part of doing this healing process in a way. And healing doesn't always necessarily indicate that there's something wrong that you need to fix or release and let go, or this negative emotions, so-called. But healing could also be learning to surrender, trust, and what it means to flow and rest when you need, and allow your body or honor your body or the natural rhythm of your flow, and just run with it rather than try to control. So adjusting also could be part of healing right now. So we don't want to get too caught up with these ideas of what healing is, what this is, what that is right now, is what I'm guided to share first and foremost for some reason. So you do not confine yourself, or you do not restrict yourself, or you do not harshly judge yourself that you are doing this, you're not doing that. And sometimes when we're on this journey, we could also get very compulsive about, I need to heal, or I need to be positive, I need to have this spiritual ascension, or I need to be in a high vibe state. So all these ideas could also be that part of the duality experimentation. So right now, we are all learning what it means to live or embody that energy of neutrality once again, because the Trinity right now, we are integrating this duality experimentation or experience and integrating them. And so the 333 is constantly coming up as very important or significant number that came since March last year in 2023. So once again, it's been coming up with today, right now, as I'm recording, it's the 7/7, so 7th of July here. So the past 2 days, I've been connecting with the energy here. The first day, I was feeling very different energy, so I had to get used to adjusting my energy to that of the energy of the earth here. And then the second day, I was connecting heavily with the ocean water, the waves, the earth, the sun. And as I was doing so, I was looking into the waves. I don't know how long I was there, but I was there, I was out and no one was around. So that was good for me to really focus on what I was connecting with. And then I just started to see these waves, but at that time I wasn't in this place called Bali, I was in this place called Lemuria. So it's like I'm time traveling, but it's with my eyes open, but the energy that I was feeling was that I am connecting with the ocean from that timeline or that lifetime. So which was very interesting, and I started to feel this energy of extremely strong divine feminine energy coming through. And with that, I started to intuitively do all this light languaging, and then I started to call in all the nature spirits, the fairies, the elementals, and then unicorns and dragons to come here, to clear the area here, the energy here, just like bringing them down. And then what came was we are all healing the mother archetype, the father archetype at this time, especially in July. We have the new moon in Cancer, which represents the water energy. And then we have the Capricorn in full moon once again, twice consecutively in a row since last month, which is marking a significant message for us that we need to work with our patterning, structuring that represents the father archetype, meaning the divine masculine energy. So we are simultaneously healing and integrating these energies right now in July. And that had been going on, that started from June is what I'm guided to share, and then it's continuing and it's culminating, at least for now, in July. So what we've been working with and what we are working with right now, and before in June it was about this energy of guilt and shame and the duality aspect of this light and the shadow aspect of our own emotions that may have been very intense, that may have been coming up for you to clear up, to see and notice the patterns, meaning the addictions. So addictions, when we say addictions, what I get is immediately we have this negative image or the idea due to a lot of programming from media and all these things. But actually simply what it means is that we are doing this unconsciously or repeating it even though we know on a mental level that it's not healthy. We are repeating the same cycle on a physical level, on a behavioral sense. So what we are being called to do is in June, we've been heavily looking into these areas by having all these intense emotions coming up once again into a deeper and deeper layers into our emotional world. And we saw it for the first time. And now in July, for the second time, more in a lighter way, in a sense that we experience feeling these deep emotions. Now we are like, okay, we now know what to work with, basically. We now have all these emotional ingredients, like, okay, I felt this strong shame or feelings of guilt or feelings of jealousy because I'm used to constantly comparing, right? That is operating from the ego that leads to immediate hatred. That is basically, I'm assuming that I don't have enough. That's why I always look towards something or other people, whether they're superior or inferior. You see? So all this comparison energy was very heavy in June. And then because with the twin energy, meaning like what is it, Gemini season, now coming into Cancer season, we saw all of these things that we want to further work on to understand our own emotional pattern, the mental pattern, and the behavioral patterns. So the pattern represents the father archetype, meaning we were having to look into all this egoic aspect that we learned all of this in order to survive, right? Basically, ever since we were born with a lot of love. That's why we love babies and kids, right? Because of their energy. But then we were once that, and as we grow up, we were trained to believe and buy into all these conditions and limitations. And that is part of our own soul experience. So your soul chose to do that. And with that, the analogy that came was, it's like this, your soul, the brighter your soul, like the light you have, like with your frequency and all of that, right? The more expanded it is. You chose to go into like deeper and deeper darkness, or the darker and more like more or most darkest or something like that. That's like a kind of an idea, like in human language term, because the darker it is, the brighter it shines. So your soul, on a soul level, you know, I can do this. I have a lot of light and love in me. I have a lot of soul experiences and wisdom. So I will volunteer to go deep into the darkness, where I choose certain families that hold very dark energies, or, you know, lower vibrational energies, or situations, or life, you know. And then because you chose to do that, because you knew on a soul level that you had the power to transmute, transform, and transcend with the energy of love, that you are a light being. And you want to collect more information about how shadow works, so you can utilize your energy of love and light to transform that. So basically, that's, you know, a lot of light workers and starseeds and, you know, earth angels, you're here to do that as a volunteer, right? Especially if you resonate with my message here and connect with it. That but human life can be challenging, is very challenging, especially when we forget everything, right? I had that experience most of my life, you know. I was in a very completely different state, like no spirituality in my life, had no idea, no knowledge whatsoever, but I was drawn to all these things for some reason. So when it's the time, you wake up, or you choose to wake up, and then you go through all this journey, right? So-called like dark night of the soul, however you resonate with these terms, right? So basically, what I'm guided to share is all your life, on a soul level, you designed every aspect, what you are going to experience, what you chose, it's all by you. And also the time that you are waking up and going through certain things is all divinely timed. So wherever you are, especially if you are at just an early stage of waking up, or going through like intense emotional triggers, or healing stage right now, you may feel like you're alone and it's too much. You may feel exhausted, overwhelmed. If you're in that state, I just want you to remind you, because your soul already knows, I'm just reminding you, right, that you're stronger than what you believe, who you believe to be right now, and you already have all the wisdom. So if this helps you, I hope that it helps you. Just a reminder, right, that sometimes we want to hear from someone other than yourself, and that's going to help you. So I'm just reminding you that you have all the love, you have all the wisdom and strength that you don't see or recognize yet, because you're still in that a lot of the dark experience right now. You're just waking yourself up. So I'm just reminding you that you're in the right place at the right time. If you are doubting yourself, if you are constantly worried whether you are healing or not, that, you know, once again, we could be very compulsive about this healing journey as well. Like, I want to ascend, I want to move my timeline, you know, I want to move to the highest timeline, or all these ideas and languages that we use currently. Is like, am I healed yet? Or am I doing things right? Or am I in the right place? If you're questioning that, just remind yourself, or use the affirmations that I'm always in the right place at the right time. Because if you say so, that is where you are. That's how powerful you are. And this may be just... to you, this may be just an idea right now, but the more you repeat, the more you reflect on it, the more you meditate with it, the more you experience all this, like, in a way, hardships or challenges, because you're in the process of transforming from this like a butterfly to become a butterfly. You're in this cocoon stage, right? Where you don't see anything. You're in this darkness, but I'm just reminding you that you are a butterfly, okay? You have the power to transform. So just that if you're in this cocoon stage, I'm just reminding you that you're not alone. You're always connected to your spirit guides, your higher self, your guardian angels, your animal spirits, your galactic families. Everyone is supporting you. And right now you may only have it on a mental idea level, but the more you believe it and have discipline or build discipline, it's going to really resonate here, and you will start to understand the deeper meaning and the depth of it. And that's how you are going to release all these limiting beliefs more and more as you go through this process, is what I'm guided to share. Because right now everyone is on a unique different journey, and some is just waking up, some is like going through certain things, some feels like they're at a certain level, but we're all continuing to work and evolve on a unique level. So that what we are doing right now is we are working both with the mother and father archetype at the same time. And earlier part of this year and most part of last quarter of last year, we were heavily working on mother wound and father wound, mother wound and father wound, like alternatively. And now at this time, since June, it's like wrapping up at this moment for now, like integrating this phase. And this is part of another purification process that I mentioned earlier this year for the theme of like in 2024, one of the themes, that as we look into and heal these areas, especially since June, what we are being called to do was to really look into the patterns that's connected to our emotions. So the mother energy, the father energy, the divine feminine energy, the divine masculine energies, they work together hand in hand. So for example, mother energy is representing the matrix, meaning all connectivity. So the idea of oneness, like one love, that we are all connected, we are all from the same source. The idea of separation is dissolving with that energy of oneness, right? The unconditional love. So right now, like even here, we are living in all kinds of separations and divisions and dualities, right? I am Korean, you are Indonesian, for example, is a separation. I am Hindu, I don't have a religion, or I'm a Buddhist, it's all separation. I believe in this, I do not believe in this, all separation. And these are all identification. So we are identifying with all these conditioned ideas, images, meaning beliefs. And therefore we separate ourselves, each other, right? You are this, you are that, you're better, you're not this. Like for example, now in Korea, we have all this K-pop culture, like BTS is so popular all over the world. They contributed in a way that, when I'm, saying, where are you from? Like, I'm from Korea, I'm Korean. Whoa, Korea, we like Korea. But now, like, before, like, 20, 30 years ago, they're always asking, like, is it dangerous in Korea? Or are you from South Korea, North Korea? Like, people did not know, where Korea was. Like, it's very different. So these things are all just changing up, and we are separating. It's just an image, right? The image we have right now, the image may be good, it may be negative or positive, and these are changing based on all this programming and conditions and strategies. That mother archetype energy that we are healing all these judgments, right? So for example, the feelings of jealousy, is from the idea of comparison, right? When someone says, oh, you're in Indonesia, I'm so jealous. And when you say I'm so jealous, meaning in a lot of culture, what I saw was that that's like a compliment. But I never saw that as a compliment. I didn't feel very comfortable using those words or receiving those things. But they're using it as if, oh, you're in a much better place than where I am. Look, where I am is cold and -20, like, oh, you're in the sunny side of the world and blah, blah, blah. So like this idea of good and bad, the sunny is better, the colder is worse or something like that. All these ideas that we do not see things neutrally, but we have all these ideas and images that we've been conditioned from media, from people, families, and this like school system and institutions, right? That what is good and what is bad. And with that, we're like, oh, I'm so jealous you're there. And that means the basis of that, or the assumption that one holds when one says that, is that I'm not enough right now. You see? So that's the lack mentality, the poverty consciousness. So that's what you're going to attract, because wherever you are, it's not the external, it's the internal that shifts everything. And we are not taught this, we are not educated with that, because once we understand that, we are in sovereign power, and the centralized power doesn't want that to happen, right? So they want to keep people jealous, keep people in separation, keep people hating over something for no reason. For example, like I had this experience where I was talking with someone, and she grew up in a very religious culture, like Christian, and she said, I didn't like this friend because I didn't know that that friend was a friend with a homosexual person, and from what I learned, homosexuality is sin, right? So immediately with that belief, I do not like that. I do not like that person. I do not like this person as well. So that's how all these religious beliefs, all these ideas. But then when you really look at it, it's all about unconditional love. But it's very contradicting in and of itself, but people are not aware because they're heavily programmed to see one thing and believe just that one. So with that belief alone, you could have so much hatred towards a certain person, individual, a situation, a country, a region, whatever, and start to attack, right? So meaning start to fight and start to have a war, basically, and this conflict and separation. So that's basically idea. And with that mother archetype energy, that all connectivity, we are now at this time to get out of this illusion of all this fear, because it's just the programming, it's just conditions. So the reason why we are keep working on it is because basically we chose to be here, and all our life we've basically been trained to believe into conditions. So we were born with a lot of unconditional love, and 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. By the age of 10, we learn a lot of conditions, a lot of limitations, and we start to experience all these restrictions that create frustrations, fears, doubts, right? So that's how we are experiencing all of this. So to reverse, to remember, is a whole other journey, and we're doing this at a very fast pace, is what I'm guided to share. And also, your soul, like your entire lifetime, this lifetime, you were preparing for this particular moment, is what I'm guided to share. And also, not just this lifetime, many lifetimes on earth, you were being prepared for this particular time right now. So just take however resonates. If you are meant to connect with this particular message right now that I just shared of soul awakening, you're going to resonate without any resistance or doubt or judgment. So somehow that's what I'm guided to share. So with that, we are having to use our divine feminine energy. You are starting to remember your unconditional self, or you're using affirmations, you are meditating, meaning going in deeper within yourself to reflect, right? To discover yourself, to connect with yourself once again, to remember who you are, right? You're getting to know your true self because you've been playing a role your entire life, basically, up to the point you are starting to awaken yourself. So one of the symptoms of the ascension is like depression, because you've been playing a role of someone that you were not. So you were trying to be someone else in order to feel like you fit in to your family or to people around you, to, you know, play a role to feel to survive. So basically, when you're a baby, you need help and you need certain environments. So we learn to survive, and in the process, we learn to buy into the idea of conditions, like being someone else and living up to other people's expectations and who I need to be, should be. And with that, we develop a lot of self-victimization, right? And then later it develops into self-pity. That, you know, like you develop this story that I was born into this family where my mother was abusive, where my father was abusive, where they were never loving, or I had the siblings and all these family members who betrayed me, or the friends, or these relationships, right? And the more you reinforce these stories, you're going to live that reality of self-victimization, is because the basis of that is the judgment that we learn, the judgment of what's supposed to be, what should be. That should be is a belief system. You see what I mean? It's all connected like that. The should be. And the should be is a limitation because everything is. But when you say it should, you start to fight. You start to have a war with yourself, with other people. I'm supposed to be this by this time, but I'm not this yet. Or I don't feel like I'm that, something that I'm supposed to be or supposed to have. And with that, you create inner conflict. And then also, you start to have self-pity where they were supposed to be loving. They were supposed to be unconditional towards me. They were supposed to be that. They were supposed to be this. But they weren't. It's unforgiveness, right? You hold on. And then with that, you're like holding resentment and anger and sadness. And you start to grieve. And you are the story of the misery, right? You are the main character of the story of misery. So that's what you're going to experience. And I'm just, when I say this, I'm just laughing, but I was in that place, and that's why I'm laughing, because, when we are in that place, we don't realize that we are writing these scripts and, nobody's educating us. And even though some people are given the opportunity that you can change your story, some souls are not going to choose it. They're going to repeat the same story over and over and over. Just that everyone right now is choosing on a soul level what to do and whether to wake up or whether to repeat the same cycle. So with that idea that the more you go in, you start to remember that you are loved, you're this and that, is because you already have all the wisdom inside you. We already have all the unconditional love. You have the power to transcend and transform. And with that, we are looking into our addictions, meaning our patternings that we develop, the structures, right? We are behaving in this certain way, or we are thinking in this way, or I'm feeling there's a pattern. I do this and I get triggered and I go into this place and I start to do this and I make this choice and it leads to this. So it's like a cause and effect, right? So you are choosing everything that has certain consequences. That's called reality. And you are choosing everything. And you are now seeing these patterns. And we've been seeing these patterns since June very heavily. And now we are having to purify once again by what? Feeling the emotions is what I'm going to share. So the one way to purify is to feel the emotions, feel the tides in your emotional world, meaning the ebb and flow, because our body is made up of water mostly, and that is receptive, the emotional states, just like the waves. We're constantly vibrating like this, the waves coming in and going out, coming in and going out like this. And you want to feel the emotions, meaning the analogy that came was if you're afraid of the wave, you cannot ride the wave. You're going to constantly be crashed in water and then feel crushed down and you get more scared, right? But when you say that's just a wave, right? And you face it and then you just go in and you learn to ride, meaning feel the emotions rather than get scared of feeling your emotions is the key right now. And also using your intuition. And as you do this, as you tap into your water energy more, you're going to tap into your intuition more, meaning that inner knowing, the inner discernment, the inner wisdom that is already built within you when you let go of control that you learn from survival, meaning control in a sense is resisting the flow, is control. The natural flow is here, but when we're in survival, we weren't able to trust this, so we learned to control. For example, you grew up in a very chaotic household or environment that you felt powerless, you feel like you had no control over things. Then you learn to be very controlling of everything around you to feel safe and secure, meaning the idea of home within, right? The security within, the home within. That's the pattern, that's the addiction. So that addiction needs to be healed with the divine feminine energy of the water, the flow, the waves. To not be afraid of the waves, how big it is. That's where the idea of neutrality is coming in. The meaning that you give is the meaning that it is. You see, that's the neutral state. If you give it a negative meaning, scary meaning, it becomes that. If you see and give another meaning, it becomes that. It becomes a helping hand. It becomes a support for you. It becomes a teacher that trains you, even though you crash, it's training you rather than it's pulling you down, all these different meanings, right? So you want to be that creator from a neutral standpoint, that waves, do not be afraid of the waves, okay? That becomes your opportunity to purify. And then the more you do it, the better it gets, right? Like the surfers. Everyone was once a beginner, like the quote. So you are learning to ride the waves again. So we are learning to be neutral again. We are learning to be operating from intuition again. We are learning to live in peace and harmony again. So we are all like a newbie in a way, a new beginner, a student of life, the waves, okay? So allow these waves to come, because they hold valuable information for you that can help you witness, observe, and notice and recognize your addictions, meaning your patterns. And the reason why we need to do this is because we need all these light workers, starseeds, and everyone to wake up, to purify our ego so that we could start to, it's like purifying our seed to build a new earth is what I'm guided to share. So right now we are like in a grounding work. Like I don't know much about farming, but like I learned that when you are, when you start farming, the grounding is very important. The soil, the quality of the soil is very important, right? You want to have that ground ready, and then also find the right seed and plant it. So we've been doing the grounding, the rooting. So you want to, from this point onwards, continue to feel that peace within yourself. So you don't look for security outside of yourself, which is control, which is a very centralized system we depend on, right? We want the savior to give me the security, give me the safety, right? And so the more we find the security and home within ourselves, in our root chakra, that's a grounding work in analogy, like in farming, making sure the soils or the ground is ready first. And then also now looking into the seed, because the pattern represents the intention, the divine masculine energy. So we need to purify the intentions is also what I'm guided to share. So when you are building something, when you are taking on action with something, right now, radical self-honesty is being called because it's very tricky sometimes. For example, like sharing our stories, for example. It could be a spiritual business or any business. We were taught to use stories as a hook in advertisements and business, right? It's manipulation. So your story becomes means to an end. But what I was guided to share by Source last month was we need to look into these areas. Why do you want to share your stories? What's your intention behind it? And how is it going to serve for the highest good of all? You want to question all of these things once again intensely and be very honest with yourself is what I'm guided to share, because that seed has to be very pure for the new earth. And that is very, very important is what I'm guided to share. And in a lot of spiritual community too, we learn. I mean, in advertisement and communication classes that I took in university, I remember, like, even when I was working in the corporate world, I had many different jobs in very many different industries. And I was in marketing communications as well a little bit, aside from my finance career. And it was very interesting because we learn all this strategy and tactics, even like sex appeal as a strategy to use. And when you really think about it, that's pretty messed up, using this to make a hook, and it's conditioning people, programming people, even making all the CM song, commercial songs, right? To have this idea in their mind running. So I still remember these CM songs from that I heard when I was 7, 8, because throughout my entire life, or like the childhood, I grew up listening to them everywhere on TV. So I don't need to think about it. It's just like popping up in my mind, right? That's the programming and the image. So just like that, we learn to use these things in a certain way. That's the old way. So now we are in a transition from transcending the old to the new. So we're in this transitional period where both exist, like the old and the new. So now we are having to look into that aspect, because everything is tied to the ego, meaning the idea of self-serving, the idea of extreme survival operation, where we bought into that there's not enough for everyone, that it's a limiting world, so it's a limited resources, that Like totally it's different from how reality works, that you are the creator and this is all holographic in nature, right? And this is more like a dream state that we call reality. All these ideas have not been taught or widespread or trained to people or educated to people, so they live in this small box of limitation where they're always scared whether something's going to be taken away or someone's come in or the environment changes and they cannot survive or you are to suffer. So we stay in fear and stay in worry constantly. That's the lower energy, lower vibrational energy. So right now we're having to purify and re-review. If you are an entrepreneur or if you are doing something or wanting to build something, wanting to create something, that seed, that intention, what am I really doing this for? Is it self-serving? And there could be a very fine line or tricky line between, like you could easily justify yourself if you're not radically honest with yourself. And we don't want that energy on New Earth is what I'm going to share. And we are in that process right now of the purifying, the patterning, the father archetype. So the image that is coming up is in the Egyptian statue. It's the woman who's like holding, like doing this to the men. Like when you look at all these sculptures, it's not about the idea of one is better than the other, but it's just that the archetype, we want to use the divine feminine archetype that is within everyone else, that is the matrix, the all connectivity that we all know on a soul level, that we are all connected and we are all one. And this idea of nationality, this gender, the skin color, how we look, the language, religion, all these things are just a separate ideas of or experimentation of separation. And we say, oh, we are different and we are this and we are that. But actually, and one, we are just, when you connect to it, we can speak the language of unconditional love with each other, despite how we look, despite the language that we speak, despite what you believe in. It has such transcendental power. And that is the reminder of the divine feminine energy, of the water energy, of going into the Cancer. We are one big family, right? We say soul family, but we are one big family at large, is what I'm going to share. And with that knowing, we want to heal the father archetype, the patterning, and purify the ego of the divine masculine energy of producing, creating, providing, right? What am I building this for? The intention, the seedling stage, we want to purify that for the new earth. Okay, so you want to question, and that's why I mentioned constantly about spiritual ego the last time, that, you know, that you are an old soul, you're a new soul, or you're this or that. Like, it's just all human language term that we are using. But, you know, simply we just want to recognize that we are unique. We are all radiating unique, beautiful light. And, you know, everyone is on a beautiful, unique journey. And it's not about someone, you know, it's not about you having all this knowledge about spirituality, all this like this, and you're having this and that, and you're knowing this information doesn't make you, you know, superior than anyone else, is what I'm going to share with the spiritual ego, because I experience and Source had me witness certain people in the spiritual community last year in March, April, May especially, where that energy of that. So we want to be very conscious and aware that once again, we simply want to honor, right, each other, and we are just one big family, and that with that we want to help each other to heal, to empower and support each other, whole love and light, so that they feel safe to really feel their emotions once again and learn to trust again, right? That's why we are helping each other right now, right? And the only person who can unlock your potential, meaning remembering who you are, that is infinite, that is limitless, that is unique beauty, that is love and light, is you. It's no one else. So we are transforming or transitioning out of that old energy of wanting to be saved to knowing who you are, right? Remembering who you are, that energy. So with that, in July right now, yesterday I was connecting with all kinds of animals. So a dog, when the dog came by the beach and sat next to me, like immediately I felt the energy of Sirius that was coming through very strong, and I was connecting with the cow on the street, and the cat, and I had to set free this dragonfly who got stuck on the windowsill at a shop that I was going in. And so all these energies were coming through, very strong energy from Sirius and Lyra at this time, and they're supporting with further opening up our heart to remember who we are so we can transcend. And by remembering that we are love, that we don't need to fear anymore, and that as a reminder in our healing process, our empowering journey, that we may bought into this idea that this idea of negative people trying to harm you, negative people trying to hold you back, it's just an idea or a belief system. If you start to say these words and use these words, you got to protect out of this fear, then the basis of that is the fear. It's not out of self-love. So we also need to be aware of this when you want to talk about protection and spiritual protection or negative people. It's simply, we are putting a lot of importance on what they think, opinions, meaning we are identifying, meaning we learn to simply assume fear with everything around us. So all these ideas are coming right now. They could play out in a very unique, different way for everyone right now. So also, the energy of Shiva. I was guided to visit all these temples yesterday in Ubud, connecting with Saraswati. Shiva and Krishna came through. So all these energies are very much supportive right now, and we are going through another death and rebirth. We are going through constant death and rebirth. Feels like we are doing this every month with the lunar cycle that I mentioned earlier this year, that the lunar cycle will play a very important role. So also the message that came was the flow and la luna, like loon, the moon. So like in Spanish it's called la luna, right? So the lunar energy can help us very much tap into our divine feminine, our emotional world, and go deeper into it, and so that we recognize without fearing. So the waves, when the waves are coming, when we use our divine feminine energy, instead of going into fear, remember there's nothing to fear. Everything is love, everything is neutral, everything is happening for me, right? It's serving me. Is to remind ourselves of that, so we do not fear the waves and we start to ride the waves, to recognize the patterns in us, right? That's the father, divine masculine archetype, so it can be healed through our own self-recognition, so we can release any of the egoic, self-serving intentions that we may have been operating or building on. Is the energy right now. And also I I received a lot of energies from the source and the messages about the Hollywood and the entertainment system in Korea as well, because now K-pop is very much connected to Hollywood and all this, the United States energy, especially with BTS popularity, and they serve a specific purpose. Right now, there's a lot of heavy, dense energy in Korea in the entertainment industry as well, and there's a lot of hidden corruption. When I was tapped into it, that has to be purified, that eventually in the right timing, it's going to be revealed itself. And we had that moment last month when there was a news of conflict within this one of the biggest entertainment company in Korea. And also the Spirit had me see the life of the Marilyn Monroe and what she had to do and what was really playing out and what the energy of the Hollywood, because it holds a lot of the dark, dense energies right now, and it needs to be reversed and purified. And because it's affecting, it's like the channel, like a central channel. It's affecting everyone on every other country with the internet, right? What they wear, what they put on, what they say, what they send out as music, becoming popular, top of the chart. It has a lot of influence. And so that needs to be purified. That's why occasionally I was channeling messages about the artists, writers, to if you have creative ideas that is divinely guided, that is purified, to act on it, because you are the agent in a way to purify the energy there. And so also they had me see the history of Coca-Cola and how that's also putting people in sleep and affecting everyone's consciousness, and all this idea of advertisement, the history of advertisement. And so that's another thing that I'm guided to mention for some reason, that on a collective level that we need to purify. That is all connected to the number 333 is what I'm guided to share. That is connected to the Christ consciousness energy, the Christ light. What else? So there's a lot of evolutionary energy that is that I'm tapping into right now. Number 234, 345. 4, 5, 6, all these consecutive numbers once again that I've been witnessing maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, very heavily, and a lot of people in the collective may have been recognizing that as well. So once again, the energy, meaning there's a lot of elevation energy that is taking place in the collective. So frequency-wise, the Gaia's energy is like rising up. So with that, what I'm going to share is about the 144,000. You are to embody that love and light energy and continue to purify your ego. Be very reflective. Be very honest with oneself. So we continue to do this process to hold all of these higher frequencies that are supporting us. So you become this direct channel that anchors down the root. So it's like I see all these vessels of the 144,000 light workers, like lighting up the entire energy of Gaia, or the vessel or the root energy source of Gaia, so that it raises its own vibration. And that's our purpose as well, the soul purpose. And so that's going to help New Earth move into work, separate successfully from the old Earth in a human language sense that we are talking about. But already there are like parallel versions, but that's how we can describe, it's like splitting. What else? So 2 days ago, I was guided to go to a crystal shop for some reason, and I was immediately, when I went into the store, I was drawn to this amethyst crystal, and I asked where this is from, and this is from Brazil. And I usually check the energy with my third eye when I go into shop, and check the energy of the crystal or the tree or the rock or however it is, like the temple, I was drawn to bring this next to me while I was doing this. So let me just tap into it. What people need, this collective needs, if I can support them right now. To purify your third eye, there's a lot of higher chakra energy activation that is taking place right now. So I want to give you some crystal Reiki. If the light language coming through, I'm just going to let it come through, and light codes transmission. So I want to help you dissolve and transmute any lower density energies around you, especially in your third eye. Wakai akakai akakau kukuai akakai akakaua. Kai akakai kiki akakau akakai akikia, so you can see through the illusions to tap into the essence of who you are. Wakai akakai akiki akai akiki akiki akakau kakai ki akakai akiki akau akakai akiki akiki akakau akaka ikiki akau akakai akakai akikia, so you can tap into and connect with your intuition better to discern. Wakai akakai akiki akiki akakau akakai akiki akiki akakau akakai akakau kukuai akiki akau wakakai akakai akiki akau akakai akiki akau akakai akiki akiki ai akakau akaka ikiki akau akakai akakau akakau akakai akiki 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 ai akakau akakai akaka iki akakai akiki akiki akakau akakau kukuai akakau kukua kakau akai akakau akakai akaka ikiki akau akakai akiki 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 akua kukuai akakau 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 akaka. Wow, any brain fog, or to give you some clarity that is coming from within rather than outside. All the answers lie within yourself. The more you seek answers from others outside, the more you're going to stay in resistance. So you need to release that desire or the wanting and simply be here and now. And with that, you will have the clarity, meaning the answers, because everything is within you already. It's the filters, the illusions that have been fogging, clouding you from seeing and recognizing, you see? So it's not that you need to search outside of yourself. Everything is within you. You need to simply go in, meaning be. Allow yourself to be, accept what is, flow. If any control is coming, any compulsion, the fear and insecurities and anxieties are rising up, you want to stop fearing these, from feeling these emotions. Like the waves, not fear the waves. Go in and face the waves. So you can learn to ride with the waves. Because you have the capability to do so. The fear is an illusion. Once you see that it's just a wave, it's not fear, you are going to feel these emotions. That's how you can purify. Okay. So with the selenite, maybe I'm going to give you some quick cleanse of your auric field. Allow your auric field to be cleared and purified. Your crown, third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral, your roots. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. That is love. You are the love. You have all the power to transform any fear, transcend anything. Do not fear your own emotions. Do not fear feeling your emotions. In that lies all your answers, information, clues to unlock, to free yourself, to become the butterfly that you are. You can be honest with yourself. It's okay. Nobody's punishing you. Release the energy of reward and punishment. Be honest with your intentions. Speak your intentions clearly, lovingly, in a direct manner, in a kind, soft-spoken way, in an assertive manner. Be who you are simply. Do not fear. Do not fear. Own your power, own your energy, own your freedom. You're not a victim. Do not see yourself as wounded, see yourself as healing, healed, empowered, powerful, loving, kind, harmonious, balanced, wise, okay? Start speaking your reality. Create a new story, a new pattern that is aligned with your soul, with your higher self. Do not be compulsive to becoming. When you are being, it is enough. Do not control becoming, release. When you are being, it is good enough. In being, you're going to connect with yourself, emotions as they are, as they come. Have less fear. That's going to allow yourself to feel, face, recognize, delve deeper so you can understand. And have deeper understanding. With that, you're going to have wide spectrum of consciousness, expanding, which can also help relate, understand others as oneness, as part of our own big family. That is the idea of compassion, empathy. And at the same time, you're going to operate in wisdom, in balance, in discernment. The kindness is not weakness, right? But is a strength. It can be soft. It doesn't have to be hard. We don't need to be in war with ourselves or other people. But that also soft can be very powerful, like water, flow, penetrating, breaking the rock. That's the energy of flow. The divine feminine that is coming through right now to heal the divine masculine, the patterning, the purified intention, the purified seed that we need, okay? Continue to ground yourself to place that purified seed right now. And that the idea of Trinity is coming on very strong. So, connect with 333, the Christ consciousness energy right now. To remember who you are, the Christ light. Simply connect with your monad. Say, I am the Christ consciousness. I am the golden ray of Christ consciousness. The moment you say, I am, you integrate with your monad. You activate your soul memory of who you really are. You embody that light. And you can also bring in the Christ consciousness energy or Christ light to your house, to the space that you're in. And visualize that energy going through, around that space, environment, spreading all this Christ light, feeling the space with this Christ light. Everywhere you go, everywhere you stay, you have that power to do so, okay? That is what I'm guided to transmit right now. Remember that you are love. Remember that you are loved. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. With the 7-7 energy, I'm feeling this very strong Sirius energy for some reason right now. To support you with opening up your heart, opening up your heart, open your heart. It's okay, you are safe to feel, you're safe to recognize, no one is punishing you, okay? It's okay, release that fear, release the judgment. It's okay to be who you are. Open and expand your heart. It's okay. It's okay for you to be love, share love, exchange love, receive love, feel love. With that energy, heal your fears, transform your fears, transform these illusions. Connect with your heart center. Remember who you are. Okay, so I hope this helps. And I'm sending you lots of love from, I hope I send you all this energy from Bali, this peace, loving, harmonious energy. I want to share the energy with you. So with that, I'm going to end my video here, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.